What a stage we've just had today. Welcome everyone back to the Wheelie Good Podcast. We're here with a little review of stage number 4, where finally the tour has really been kicked off. Oh yeah, Taylor, just say something.
We had a breakaway. I can't believe it. Every single good stage has had a breakaway. I mean, it's no coincidence. It is no coincidence, is it? And it was 4 riders. It began with Lenny Martinez and Jonas Abrahamsson going up the road in a big cut, little cut scenario. And then across came Thomas Gachinard for Total Energy. And then Kasper Asgreen. We're getting the big names in the break.
Big names. They were afraid in the building. They saw Kasper Asgreen go up there. They're like, oh god, man, we gotta pace hard today.
Yep, this is the first day that Sylvain Dillier has had to do a job and actually pace down a proper breakaway. And he did pretty well, to be fair. They didn't get any more than sort of 2.5 minutes. But the breakaway is a secondary conversation. Over the top of the first climb, it was Lenny Martinez that tried an attack. But in the end, Kasper Asgreen, from the top rope, comes all the way back and overtakes him for the 1 point. Then Martinez attacks again and gets away with Jonas Abrahamsson. He manages to get over the top of the Category 3, but we're seeing UAE start to put in a pace in the peloton.
Indeed, a very high pace as well. And at this point, on this climb here, you saw Jonas, he was kind of alone. Like, we saw some, I don't remember who it was, but some of his riders trying to get up there. They couldn't really get up the road, so he was sort of sitting there, and I was like, wait a minute, what's happening here? Are we having a disaster class? Is that what's happening? Please. But they managed to surprise us. The tactical genius of Visma never ceased to amaze me. They had the perfect time to lead Jonas up. The entire team came up right before the descent and got him into a perfect position once again.
Yeah, positioning was so important on the stage as well. And another interesting subplot was the intermediate sprint points. It was Milan and it was Guillaume who went all out for it. But a certain Tim Merlier, it's the first time we've seen him at an intermediate sprint point. He didn't go all out in typical Tim Merlier fashion.
It feels like he's been told to be there. He's been to go for the green jersey. He's like, he does the bare minimum.
Do it for the sponsors then. Yeah, fine.
He did not care to be there whatsoever.
So yeah, Milan against Guillaume, and Milan dusts Biniam Guillaume, unfortunately. I hoped it would have been a bit closer of a battle, but the green jersey goes over the intermediate sprint line first of the peloton. Meanwhile, the 4 riders were still ahead, but they were reeled in before the Côte de Bonsecours, 900 metres, 7.2%, and that was where the fun properly began. Because forward came Visma, forward came UAE, and the GC team started to control.
Can we just give a round of applause to Campenaerts, though? The pole that he took, my God. I saw him at the end where it seemed like he wanted to keep going. Like his final push, I was like, surely not, man. I was laughing my ass off. I was like, come on, you've done enough.
I've got one more in me.
And he finally pulled to the side. Yeah, it was like the final little bit. Man, huge props to him. That was a crazy pull.
And yeah, it was Campenaerts against the likes of Sivakov and Wellens. Sivakov and Wellens were used up early. It seemed like Pogacar used his team slightly too early in this stage. Definitely over the top, though. Wellens took one of the climbs. However, it was less about getting over the top of the climb first. It was more about keeping your GC guy towards the front. And it was Visma and UAE that were doing that perfectly. UAE used their riders up first, though, and we didn't see Joao Almeida arrive until very late. Is this like a plan to keep him out of the wind, do you think? And be a second leader?
Definitely could be. I mean, he definitely has the capability to be a second leader. So if they, try and not use him too much and save him a little bit, that makes sense for sure, I think.
But it was a battle of the teams. Visma, at a point, I think, there was, 5 Visma riders against 3 UAE?
Yeah.
And I thought, this is Visma's to lose now. And initially, I thought they were going for Wout Van Aert again, because Van Aert was on the back of the train.
Yep.
Do you think that was an actual option?
Well, apparently, at least the Danish media, I think, Vingegaard said before this stage that they would, like, the goal was to go for Wout Van Aert at this stage, if he had the legs, but I guess he just, once again, just didn't have the legs. But he also mentioned that he's been getting better throughout the tour, slowly, so hopefully that's going to mean we can see him actually do something later on during the tour, because so far he's sort of just been there, honestly, you know?
Yeah, Wout Van Aert didn't have the legs and not many other riders did, but it all came down to the final climb of the day. And we mentioned this in the preview podcast. It was so important to be well positioned midway through this final climb. It's 800 meters at 10.6%, but the start of it is very shallow. So actually, we're looking at probably more 600 meters at like 12% average. But at sort of 400 meters to go, you go left and then you go right, and the road goes incredibly narrow. And UAE Team Emirates got this one absolutely right. It was Jonathan Narvaez who positioned Pogacar right at the front, and instantly you were like, he's going to go here. He's going to attack. Yeah. On the moment they get around that corner and the moment the road narrows, off he goes up the road. And indeed, that exactly happens. But Jonas Vingegaard responds.
I was just cheering. He was sat a little bit far behind. I don't remember like one or two riders further behind coming into that final corner. But he's responded to Tadej, got up to his wheel. He was the only one who could follow. Van Der Poel, we saw he tried, but you're like, oh, wait a minute. I am not following this. Remco as well trying, but a huge gap between them. And something very odd happened. I still don't know why. The interviews haven't gone out yet. This is right after the stage we're recording this. But Vingegaard just suddenly, near the top, slows down, looks back. And then 2 seconds later, he goes up again and starts riding back to Tadej. He lost like a good, 4 or 5 meters and then started pacing back up again. And I don't know why.
Yeah, it was. I don't know whether it's like he's gone to change up a gear and like the gear's jammed a bit, but then why would you look back? It was very, very weird. And again, we're recording this right after, so there's not really any confirmed reasoning as to why it happened. But the fact he went off the back of Tadej Pogacar's rear wheel and then got back to him is testament to his form at the moment.
Yeah, because if this was last year, he would not have been able to follow. We all know that much. Like the amount of muscle mass he's put on since last year and can follow those accelerations is really, really helpful. And I think will also help him later on during the tour when Tadej does the the big accelerations on the mountains as well, where usually would drop him. Yeah. So I think it's for the tour, for the entertainer value of the tour, this was a really good thing.
Yes, I agree. And I think it's the first time, at least for me, that I've seen lots of people have been going on about like how Pogacar climbs in the saddle now. I wonder whether it was like a seated acceleration like after his initial one as well, combined with Jonas kind of looking back. I wonder whether that might have caused the gap. But again, there's still nothing. But Remco was dropped, Mathieu Van Der Poel was dropped. And actually, before the climb had even started, we saw a couple of GC guys get distanced, notably Santiago Buitrago from Bahrain Victorious, Felix Gall from Decathlon Age Desert, Guillaume Martin from Groupama FDJ, and Florian Lipovitz of Red Bull Bora.
I heard it and I just sat my head in shame. I was like, no way, man. I was counting on you.
I think this is a statement that Primož Roglic will be Bora's leader for the rest of this Tour de France.
Yes,
I think that's a pretty obvious statement to make now, because Lipovitz, well, he crossed the line in a group quite far behind, 54 seconds to be precise. However, Roglic also missed it quite drastically, and he ended up crossing the line at 32 seconds down, but Pogacar and Vingegaard were away at the front over the top of the climb, and they kind of looked at each other for a moment. Vingegaard gave him a pull, but I don't think either of them really wanted to go to the line with each other.
I doubt it. Especially since they both had guys right behind. It wouldn't make sense. I think also something that I noticed was on Pogacar's attack. He always attacks, in the seat, like you mentioned. And this one time, he was out of the seat. Fully out of the seat for a big part of the attack. Which, well, I don't know. I guess it's an all-out attack if he's out the seat. Even though he can also do one when inside the seat. I don't know exactly. But maybe he was just feeling it. Maybe it just looked cool. Who knows? We did also see at the top, though, that for once in my life, I've seen Tadej out of breath. He was out of breath for once. I was like,
there's a chance here.
This man needs oxygen. Wait, he might be human after all.
He is not a robot.
Exactly.
No, I think, both of them kind of realised as well with that acceleration that they could probably beat Van Der Poel in a sprint if it came down to it. And we later found that out, but not until a elite group got back to them, which included Van Der Poel, which included Remco Evenepoel, and a certain Brit by the name of Oscar Onley, Picnic Post NL. Now, you've got him in your fantasy team, so I think you deserve more credit than I do for this take. But what a ride from Onley.
Indeed, man. You just gotta keep going and rack up them points, my boy.
Exactly. Doing it for the team, but also probably doing it for his own hopes. This is going to probably put him in a super nice position when it comes to organising a new contract. Who knows if one of the big teams takes him. If I'm one of the big teams, I'm definitely looking.
Definitely having a look.
But yeah, Onley, superb ride. And he clung to the back of Van Der Poel like it was his mother. Like, he had safety in the wheel of Van Der Poel wherever he was.
Oh, yeah.
And we saw Joao Almeida and Matteo Jorgensen being the two other domestiques in that particular group for UAE and Visma Lease Bike. And both of them would play a part towards the end of the stage, but not before Romain Gregoire attacked across from a group that included Matthias Skjelmoser and Kevin Votela. And it was the perfect time to attack, really. All the pace had gone out of the front group. And then, as soon as he made it across, Matteo Jorgensen goes on an attack.
Oh, yeah. It wasn't half-hearted. It just wasn't that, it wasn't a fully committed attack. It definitely seemed like, because he didn't get that much of a gap to start with. Probably just because he didn't have the legs after the climb, which makes sense. Just sort of to test it out, I would assume. But it was still nice to see, though, that he had the at least the little bit extra in attack to be able to do it.
Yeah, he had a couple of goes. First one was on the descent, and then at the start of the false flat rise to the finish, he had another try. That was a bit more successful than his previous attempt, but Joao Almeida managed to close it down. So it was kind of a 1-0 for UAE Team Emirates on the Super Domestique front. And Joao Almeida actually gained 3 seconds on Matteo Jorgensen at the line.
He did.
But in the grand scheme of things, that might not matter because it's down to Pogacar and Vingegaard on the final climb, but not if Mathieu Van Der Poel had anything to say about it. How did the finish go, Lucas?
It was, I think Van Der Poel, I'm not sure if he overestimated his legs at that point or what, but he opened up very early. And then quite a bit before the finish, he was like, wait, they're still in my wheel. This is not good. And, Tadej just gets past him not easily, but he gets past him. Vingegaard almost very close to also beating Van Der Poel right there, but just about not. And Van Der Poel ends up in second place.
Yeah, I think it's one of those where if the line is 50 metres further down the road, Vingegaard overtakes him. But at the same time, I think Mathieu Van Der Poel kind of definitely overestimated himself, might have got that sprint wrong. If you're getting dropped by those guys on the climb quite comfortably beforehand, it's probably not the best idea to take it up from a long way out. And I get why he's tried to do it, because that's where he's better than those guys, but he just didn't have the legs today, and you saw him grimacing. I was on stream, I was like, this guy's grimacing around the final corner. This is on for Pogacar. And he kind of starts his sprint, Pogacar comes round him, and then he gets back in the saddle, and you rarely ever see Van Der Poel get back in the saddle after a long sprint. He only really ever does it when he knows he's going to win. And this was definitely not the case. But he keeps the yellow jersey because he finishes second and has a higher stage placing than Pogacar. But Pogacar takes the stage win ahead of Jonas Vingegaard, and Oscar Onley, Romain Gregoire and Joao Almeida were the only other 3 riders that managed to stay with the big 3. Remco Evenepoel was in the group, but just got dropped slightly in the sprint. Is that a sign of where he is at the moment? Or is it just him, after that crash yesterday, possibly just losing a little bit at the end?
Maybe a mix of both. I think it's definitely a testament to just his overall fitness. He also tried something was it also after the final climb he tried something? I don't remember.
Yeah, it was after the final climb. There was a brief flat section, and if there's any time to attack, if you're Remco Evenepoel, it's on a flat. But again, doing it with 2 super domestiques in the group in the form of Jorgensen and Almeida, maybe not the best idea. But
not the smartest.
Yeah, Skjelmose finishes 9th, Vauquelin 10th, and then we looked back to the rest of the GC guys. Johannesson on 30 seconds, Benoot, Mas, Roglic on 32 seconds. So Roglic already on the back foot in the quote-unquote Big Four, finishing worst of those on the day. Felix Gal Lipovitz 54 seconds with Buitrago there as well. And that means, in GC, Mathieu Van Der Poel leads the way.
Oh, yeah. He does indeed. Tadej second. We got still Vingegaard third. Tadej, same time, of course, but
stage placing.
Indeed. Takes him into first. Vingegaard 8 seconds behind both. I think if you're Jonas Vingegaard, if you're a team Visma Lease bike, you're happy with being 8 seconds behind here. Like, of course, you would prefer not being behind, but considering the hills, considering the finishes, I think that's a W in their book at this point.
Yeah, certainly they're training to get Vingegaard more muscular for the hills has seemed to have paid off. And I am a little bit afraid, though, that he's giving me the same feelings that he did last year of... Pogacar attacked last year in the Florence stages on stage 2. Vingegaard followed, and everybody was like, after his injury, this tour is on. And what we saw was the Dane just gradually fade as the tour got on. And I'm worried we might be seeing that again. He's kind of giving us that false hope. So I'm hoping that it's more than just false hope, and that we do have a GC battle royale between the 2 of them. And it is going to be between the 2 of them, because Remco Evenepoel is now just under a minute behind already. Primož Roglic is a minute 27. And we've now got only 5 riders within 30 seconds. One of them is Kevin Vauquelin, which is pretty good from him, but he's going to be falling out of contention fairly shortly, you'd think.
Yep. And my bingo card of Remco having the yellow jersey for at least one stage, it's going to be tomorrow. It's going to be a time trial. He's got to gain 58 seconds. Oh, my God. How is that what I need?
Yeah, I've also got Van Der Poel spends a week in yellow and holds it after the time trial. So I kind of need Van Der Poel to beat Tadej Pogacar in a time trial, which I don't think is going to happen.
No, probably not. Do you think Remco could beat Tadej by 58 seconds, just theoretically?
Theoretically, potentially, no. No,
if he were to crash, if someone had tampered with his bike, just per se.
Well, if he beats Pogacar by 58 seconds, he's still got to beat Jonas by 50.
And
is that happening? Now I'm turning your Danish bias on. And yeah, I don't think you're going to agree with me on that statement. You might agree with me on Pogacar, but...
Yeah, I mean, Jonas can gain it back in the mountains if it does happen, so it's okay. I'll be fine. I don't know.
Put the call into your best friend. He'll deliberately lose time. I'm sure it'll be fine. Yeah, not suspicious at all.
Hey, Jonas, can you slow down a little bit? Go a little bit too fast here.
So that was how the stage finished, and we're still kind of waiting as to which riders are going to make it over the line. I think everybody's going to be fine. We had a couple of crashes on the day, but none of them too significant. Sepp Kuss went down, but again, I don't think it was too heavy. He was caught up in a crash with, I think it was Fedorov and Matteo Verchet, who has now been down 2 of the opening 4 days. It's just not his Tour de France. And
but who hasn't been down?
Ooh.
Primoz Roglic.
Yes.
Yet to be down. I can't believe my eyes.
He is down, but one could argue he is very much out of the of GC contention already. But he stayed on the bike, and that's all he needs to do. And to be honest, he's probably battling Remco for 3rd. And the gap there is just under 30 seconds.
I mean, honestly, that would be entertaining. Because last year we didn't really have anyone who could battle Remco for 3rd. So, like, if you cut back to, like, Tadej Vingegaard up the road, Remco Roglic behind them, having those 2 battles, that will be insane in mountains, I think.
Yeah, last year the gap to Remco was over 10 minutes from 3rd to 4th. And I think it certainly won't be that this year. And that's not a hot take by any means.
Nope.
So that was how the stage classification ended up. And green jersey stays with Jonathan Milan as well. He is the jersey wearer of green right now. Pogacar doesn't have enough to overtake him. Pogacar moves into the King of the Mountains jersey, actually. So he does take 1 jersey. It's just not the jersey he perhaps wanted to take.
Nope.
He's leading the way right now on 5, with Tim Wellens on 5 as well. Jonas Vingegaard 3rd. If you had Pogacar, Wellens, Vingegaard as your top 3 in King of the Mountains after stage 4.
Oh, yeah.
This is crazy.
That's crazy. That's crazy, man.
But Milan leads the way in the green jersey. He's got 5 points of an advantage on Biniam Girmay. Mathieu Van Der Poel is only 12 points behind Jonathan Milan. Are we going to get to a point where Van Der Poel starts thinking about the green jersey?
That could happen. But I don't know if it's going to be worth it, because I feel like Tadej might still get it at this point.
Yeah, Pogacar is
same amount of points,
edging closer and closer. He's already up into 4th, equal points with Van Der Poel, and only 12 points behind himself of Jonathan Milan. So actually, he's ahead of Merlier. And I think Merlier is going to see this and go, it's another person between me and the green jersey. That's no. I've seen enough.
He's going to use it as a bargaining chip. You see Tadej there? Nah, I can't do it. I ain't winning it.
Exactly. And how do you rate this stage out of 10?
Oh, well, I mostly only saw, like, I guess, the final part around the India sprint. It's when I started watching. I was recording something very important. So from that perspective, really good. Everything happened at that point. I think I could, like, what did I rate the first stage? Like 8.5, I think. 8.5? No, 8. I'll take 8. I think 8, yes.
I'm going to rate this stage a 7.5, I think. I'm once again going to bemoan the breakaway. Not because, I respect Lenny Martinez, especially for the fact that he got me plenty of fantasy points today. But some of these teams probably need to be a little bit more daring and throw some more riders into the breakaway, because let's be honest, a Van Der Poel, Vingegaard, Pogacar top 3. I mean, you could have scripted that with your eyes closed at the start of today's stage. And I think more teams need to kind of wake up is the wrong word, but like be a little bit more out there and find more creative ways to try and beat these guys, because you're not going to beat them on the road.
One thing that I forgot to mention though was that Alaphilippe, of course, had a little mechanical before everything started to go off, and I don't know why they tried changing the tire instead of just giving him a new bike. That took like 15 seconds. But do you think if that hadn't happened, do you think he would have been in the final group from the finish? In your heart, in
my heart, yes. In my head, absolutely not. Ben Healy also had a very badly timed mechanical, and he was being told up for the stage as well. But Yeah, it was a spirited ride from Alaphilippe. He made it back, but didn't make it back for very long because he was immediately spat out of the back the moment the tempo rose once more.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a day for poorly timed mechanicals if you're Alaphilippe and Ben Healy. So how did your fantasy team get on then today?
I forgot to change the team. I was meant to change riders for the first time, but I didn't. So I had Milan as a stage winner bonus. Got a good 62, but we got only on the team 151 points. That's not bad whatsoever. You got, of course, Gurmai and Legnerson, which getting a couple of points. But one guy that I am changing for the next stage is Castrillo, because my guys got me 0 points this entire tour, and I'm getting pissed. Literally 0 points. So that man's getting out.
Yeah,
I've had enough.
He didn't crash today, but he was caught up in an incident with Ilan van Wilder and Kees Bol, in which Ilan van Wilder ended up in a hedge, but both of those are fine. If anything, it probably softened the landing for Van Wilder. But yeah, it's been a very slow start for Castrillo.
Yes.
He should be better when the mountains happen, but again, Enric Mas has performed quite well. Didn't have the greatest stage today, finishing with Roglic, but he's still finishing with like riders that he needs to beat, and is ahead of riders that he needs to beat on GC. You know, he's ahead of Remco, he's ahead of Roglic, he's ahead of all of these other guys, apart from Jorgensen and Joao Almeida. Actually, he's ahead of Almeida, but Jorgensen especially. So I think Castrillo might be chained to Enric Mas.
Yeah. Should I have changed finally. I did it actually earlier today. My team moving forward for next stage. Should I do a little reveal?
Little teaser?
Little teaser. You know, I'm just gonna show it. If someone wants to copy me, they can go ahead and do it. We have now in the team, new in the team, who do we switch out? We switched out Gourmet and Castrillo. And in comes Jonas Vingegaard. Bam, bam, bam. Finally. Big guns here. And the other guy is Rickard from the Albers in the Koenig. Because he was 6 stars, so that's, you know, that's about it. But in comes Jonas Vingegaard finally. He's going to stay the rest of the tour. Especially for tomorrow. I would have loved to have him, I was meant to have him today, but I didn't make it in time. So he's there for tomorrow, the time trial, but hopefully he gets either a win or at least a second place. I'm praying for a second place.
With my team, it was a case of the Gennaro Gattuso clip. Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit. I also kept Milan as the stage winner bonus captain because I forgot to change it. If I did, I would have changed it to Remco and not the guy that actually won me the most points. Remco got me 112 today. Milan got me 62, as you explained. Velasco and Schroens were my only other point scorers on 10 and 3, which means De Lee, Van Aertveld and Bittner all got me 0. But thanks to being in the breakaway and taking the King of the Mountains climbs, Lenny Martinez with 227. He was getting memed on for a bad start.
Big. That's big. That's like more than a stage win.
And he becomes my leading point scorer.
Damn, that says a lot.
With that one score.
Oh God, man. Are you looking a little bit better than last in terms of the league? On 87th.
Yeah, we're working our way up slowly.
slowly. I just saw someone while scrolling down. There was someone called Lucas No Knowledge. Watch me win. You're 57th, mate. Get good. I am down to 40th though after this performance because I didn't change the team. But that's okay. But I'll also come back eventually, hopefully.
But you've changed the team now, and that's what matters.
Yes.
And that is where the comeback of comebacks will occur. Clearly.
Precisely.
I'm hedging all my bets on Remco Evenepoel for the time trial tomorrow. In fact, I'm literally going to make him stage winner bonus right now so I don't forget.
Good shout.
Lenny Martinez is probably going to drop another 0-pointer because he was in the breakaway yesterday, or today, I should say, and is not a good time trialist. So that's. I've not got a great team. I'm kind of realising this. The argument really here is I should have picked a better one. And
very fair. I mean, I think both Vingegaard and Armidale should do decently, so I should be okay. The others, I don't know, maybe not like a top placement, but those two, hopefully they can rack in the points for me.
And once again, I've kept it quiet, and we're going to be talking about who we're picking for the time trial stage very shortly. But I'd like to remind people that I am on a roll at the moment. I picked him earlier for stage 3. I picked Mathieu Van Der Poel for stage 2. We will forget about our stage 1 pick. For stage 4, I picked Tadej Pogacar. And thank you very much. We are now 75% hit rate for stage winners at the moment. How about you, Lucas? How are you doing?
Congrats, I guess. I don't want to speak about it. If I speak, I'm in trouble. Big trouble.
I like to think I was actually trying for the podcast picks and not trying and making a meme team for the fantasy, but it's actually the opposite way around. But I'm obviously not going to say that live on the podcast.
No, this gets cut out.
Yeah, this bit clearly gets cut out. Right.
Definitely. I make this as short. This is getting blasted everywhere.
With a massive screenshot of Lenny Martinez 0 points tomorrow.
Yes.
So who do you have for the time trial then? It's 33 kilometers, camp to camp, and it's pretty rolly, but this would have been the Filippo Ganna time trial if he was still here. Obviously he's not. So
yes.
Remco, right?
Yeah, I do believe I said Remco first and you ended up having to go Ganna in the preview. I would definitely stick with Remco. I hope that Vingegaard has some sort of miracle, but I don't think so. I think the obvious is definitely Remco Evenepoel, but maybe the better question is by how much? Maybe that's the better question.
Yeah, we were on about sort of 30 seconds, weren't we, on the preview pod? Roughly. I think this is slightly lower than 30 seconds based on current performance.
Yeah.
Pogacar and Vingegaard look very fresh. Remco is kind of looking a bit worse for wear. I don't know what his Soudal Quickstep team were like positioning him ahead of the important climbs today. They have been pretty bad across the previous stages, but I haven't really had time to look at the overhead shot for each climb. So maybe they've improved, or maybe they've stuck at their typical poor positioning. But it's just going to be him against the clock this time. And might be fueled a bit on wanting some revenge. But for me, I'm going like 27 seconds maybe now.
Yeah, I'm going 28 then.
Nice. Yeah, you've done exactly what I did to you on the preview pod. Fair play.
Yeah. I haven't heard anything about the weather. So I would assume that won't really play a part, like rain or anything like that. That could ruin it. We've seen that happen before. Yeah. That's the only thing I could think that could like mess something up, but if everything goes according to plan, Remco should win.
I mean, either way, they're all going to be out on the road together at the same time anyway, because it's on GC position. But yeah, no rain's expected. I'm just having a look now in Caen for the individual time trial, so everything should be fairly similar, and the wind's not blowing too high either. So I think it's going to be fairly similar conditions for everybody, including the likes of Wout Van Aert, who I might use as my backup pick, despite him having a bad start.
I wouldn't use him as my backup pick.
I'm thinking it's going to be. I don't really want to pick one of the two GC guys, but I feel like I have to. So I might retract the Wout pick.
I'm picking Jonas.
Just
I'm picking Jonas. I got Jonas. He's mine.
Which is why I'm going to go for Tadej Pogacar then.
Lovely.
So I'll go Pogacar, you can go Remco, and you can celebrate your pretty disgusting moral victory, despite me selecting Remco as my first guy, but having to concede that. So I'll give you the opportunity to do your victory lap in the next pod.
Thank you. But I will say I'm also going to predict second of being Vingegaard. So if that's correct, then I think I really deserve it.
Yes.
And I truly deserve it.
Okay.
Double points, by the way.
I will shake hands on that.
Good.
Figuratively, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is about it. I rate the stage 7.5. You rate it 8. Is that correct? Yep. And I am hoping for a good time trial. I think we're set up quite nicely. Neither Pogacar and Vingegaard have lost absurd amounts of time. If anything, I'd have wanted Van Der Poel to have like 10 to 15 seconds at this point to give him a chance at keeping yellow, but I don't think he's going to be in the yellow jersey at the end of the time trial.
I doubt it. I will be very surprised.
Will it be Pogacar or Jonas?
In the yellow?
In the yellow.
Ooh, if Jonas can gain 8 seconds, I see it happening. I see him getting 9 seconds, actually.
Ooh. Little 1 second gap.
Yep, come back tomorrow. I'm not saying I said it, but I said it. And then he loses like a minute.
Either way, I think we will call it there. It was a very good stage and has been a very good start to the Tour de France. I've got to say, even though there's not been like insane hill or like too heavy hill stages like we've seen in previous years, I'm kind of enjoying how tense everything is at the moment. Despite there not being big time gaps. Yeah,
intense and just very close, and even so many crashes, man. But it's been really good so far. But yeah, that'll do it for today. Hopefully you enjoyed this podcast. If of course don't forget to like and subscribe and rate it 5 stars and stuff on Spotify, all that. You know by now. Just go and do it.
We'll eventually get round to getting the outro right. It's just it's gonna come eventually.
It's a work in progress. One day it's gonna sit and you'll be like, damn,
he nailed
outro.
That. Yeah.
They nailed it, damn. But for now you gotta make do with this. And hopefully that's enough. Alright. We'll just see you later.
Yeah.